what would your answer be?
So, am I audible? Okay. First of all, why one should know the knowledge of investment? It is because you will not be left in a situation where you don't know what to do if something happens to you, to your family members, or to anyone in the family. आज के दिन में फाइनेंशियली इंडिपेंडेंट होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. If you have the knowledge, no one can make you fool about it. You should have the knowledge about each and every product so that you can put your money in effectively, and also you can help others putting it in effectively. So having a knowledge about anything is not bad at all. Be it investment, be it anything else, you should have knowledge about everything to make yourself fulfill on that topic. If anyone asks you about it, you are able to answer about it. Now, second is why to invest. Everyone must be having some goal in your life, be it child's education, be it building a house, be it buying a mobile phone, be it renovating your house. So you should have a goal in your life. To fulfill that goal, you have to plan financially beforehand. आज अगर आपको एक घर बिल्ड करना है 2 साल में, you cannot just have a lot of money at from nowhere अचानक से. So you have to plan about it. So to plan about it, first you have goal, your aspirations. What are your goals? Then you have to complete that goals accordingly plan, and that is where accordingly invest. Future में after 5 years, the money which you require, start planning for it now so that you don't face any financial problem at that point of time. Secondly, you have to become financially independent. You're not dependent on anyone if you are in need of money at that time because you've already done your savings, right? Third, you will be able to help others also. It is not about yourself all the time. It is about helping others also with the money you have saved. So I think the first and the foremost priority should why to invest should be your goals and aspiration. To fulfill your goals and aspirations, everyone has a goal. Please identify your goal and then move ahead.
Yes, that's a fair idea about why should one invest. Now, moving on to CA Ayush. This is one of the things that I have noticed, and I am from business background, that people who just invest their money and their business is running on debt. What would you recommend? A debt-free business or an investment portfolio?
Thank you, Ankit ji. A very good morning to all of you. Your question whether keep a debt-free business or to keep a business with debts and then maintain an investment portfolio. That is basically a subjective question, but that is dependent on a variety of other situations. Suppose your business is running very fine, you are good in your business, your debt is within your controllable limits, and you feel that you can earn more by investing in other investment options. See, these are the key decisions which you need to take before making the decision of investing with debt. What happens if your interest rate is high? Suppose your interest rate is around 12%, 13%, and your business profits, your business earnings, your return on investment from your business is not justifying your cost of capital. Suppose you are earning back to neck from your business by paying after paying interest. So in that case, investing by retaining debt is not a viable option. But if you feel that you are within a tolerable limit of debt, because always there is a tolerable limit. Suppose for a business of 100 crores, 1 crore might be a tolerable limit, 2 crore might be a tolerable limit, 3 crore might be a tolerable limit. But for a business of turnover of 5 crore, 1 crore might not be a tolerable limit. So you have to assess your situation, your present business situation. On the basis of that, you have to make your decision, and always you have to analyze your return on capital. Because suppose you take money from the market from suppose now bank interest rate is 10%, around 9 to 10%. So if you take interest loan from the bank in that rate, and then you invest in stocks, and the stock went wrong, your decision went wrong, what will happen to your debt? you'll have to pay that debt from your business income, which will again hamper your long-term business prospect. So please take an informed decision when you are dealing with debt and investment. Yes, a
Yes.
controlled mixture of all will always be beneficial. There should always be some portfolio of investment even when you are at high debt, but please maintain your risk. That is known as risk profiling, risk portfolio, and that an investment manager can better do that for you. Please, if you don't have that knowledge, don't venture it out by yourself. Take an informed decision and take a knowledgeable decision.
Thank you. Thank you for that insight, Ayush ji. It's always recommended to know how much you can put yourself and your business into that. Now, moving on to Salish. This is crunch economy, cash crunch economy. Hardly anyone has that much liquid position for the last 1.5 year. We are living in the pandemic zone. As a real estate agent, why would one invest in real estate at the present time?
Thank you, Ankit. I'll change the question a bit. Real estate, what is real estate? Real estate is an asset which is real. It's the land, is the building, or anything which is attached to land. So when it is land, this is a finite resource. This is very limited. Okay. And this is indestructible. So this is long term. So when I say long term, I'm talking generations. So you got your home, your land from your parents, and you'll give it to your children, right? So 1.5 year or even 2 years is a very short duration to think about real estate investment. Okay. And in real estate, there are a lot of other factors which are involved. Factors like safety, security, social status, right? You need a home for yourself. You need food, you need shelter, you need clothes. Those are the 3 basic needs. And all the 3 needs is linked directly to land or real estate. So what I'm saying is you should not think of real estate investment from such a small perspective. You should think on a very long term. So if you're investing somewhere, you might as well invest in real estate. And there are a lot of other benefits which you get when you invest in real estate compared to other forms of investment. Stuff like leverage, collateral. When I say collateral, I mean if you have land or if you have a real estate property, you can use that as collateral for your business, for your other things. You can get loans from the bank. And when I say leverage, say you invest in a upcoming property, you pay what, 10%? You pay 10% or 20% down payment and you start enjoying the benefit of 100%. So suppose the property is worth 1 crore and you pay 20 lakhs. If there's any appreciation, you get the appreciation on the whole 1 crore and not just 20 lakhs, right? So there are so many other reasons why you should invest in real estate, and it need not be at this present time. If you can, you should invest in real estate. Of course, there are other reasons why you should not invest. If you have a very short-term liquidity, if you have a liquidity problem, then you should not invest in real estate. Then your question would be valid, but the gains far outweigh the negatives. So I would suggest you invest in real estate. Thank you.
Thank you, Salish, for that wonderful insight about why should one invest in real estate. Now, coming to Vaishali, Ayush did spoke about having the risk. You know the risk of your oneself, and you should invest accordingly. I want to ask you, what are the avenues available for investment as per the risk behavior of the individual?
So there are a lot of avenues in today's time. I may start with a simple avenue which everyone knows, which is a fixed deposit or a PPF. But how to know in which avenues to invest is, first of all, you should identify your goals. What are your goals? Then you should do your risk profiling. Then you connect the goals with the products which is required. But this is a short summary. But how do you go about it? So first of all, insure yourself with a life and a health insurance. Then secondly, create an emergency corpus for yourself, just in case if the business doesn't work out today, or you're not working in the company you're working today, you have the emergency corpus to use. Then thirdly, you write down your short-term goals, your medium-term goals, and your long-term goals. What are my short-term goals? What are my medium-term goals in the next 3 to 5 years? What are my long-term goal in more than 5 years? Then you hire an expert or an advisor to advise you what the right product to choose as per your risk and as per your investment goals. So if the risk is higher when you have a short term goal, you do not invest in the equity markets or invest in a stock market. So this is so an advisor would be able to better explain you where to invest in your short term goals, in your medium term goals, in your long term goals. So I would not specify into any product in which to invest, but I would first request you to write down these goals and then take an advisor, take a help of them to help you out in these avenues. But there are a lot of avenues again, be it BPF, FD, mutual funds, but do not put all the eggs in one basket. You should put it in all the basket, but after a clear understanding.
So the crux is you need to identify your goals and plan accordingly. And please take help of a financial advisor. Don't do it yourself. Continuing with that, I know many people uh, in my friends, community and business people. They open a Demat account without even knowing how to operate it, how to deal in share stocks, and by the time they really understand how and what to do, they are into big losses. CA Ayush, why, how to invest in stocks, and do we really need some experts, or we can do it by yourself? What would your advice be?
Very pertinent question in today's time when over the last 1 year we have seen millions of angel investors, basically, which in market terms we call them Robin Hood investors, who have flocked into the market and opened the Demat accounts. Lakhs of Demat accounts have opened in the last since lockdown, since the first lockdown. All are basically very small investors known as retail investors, and have put on their hard-earned money into the market. 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh, 5 lakh, and this is the earning which we should always preserve, which we also try to help them out so that their hard-earned money doesn't go out. But the bad part is that these retail investors, when they invest with hope of sporadic profits. Means they want immediate income. They don't understand the crux of the market. They need immediate income. They invest in certain non-deserving stocks, in penny stocks, on the basis of some market rumors, and then turn up burning their hands. So before investing in a stock market, you have to understand the crux of stock market. So what is a stock? What is a stock? Can anyone tell me in this one? What do you understand by a stock? What do you understand by a share? We all purchase, everyone has dealt with a share. Can anyone tell me what is a share?
A share is an ownership into a business.
Very correct. By purchasing shares of Reliance Industries, you are buying a part of the business of Reliance. A very small share of the business maybe, but you have become an owner of that business. So before investing into that business, please learn about that business, what the company is doing. What are its future prospects? How it has traded in the past? Who are the promoters? How much holdings the promoters have pledged? That means how much holdings of the promoters are with the banks for taking loans? What is the conduct of the promoters? What are the future prospects of their business? What are the market reports? What is the technical analysis? I am 100% sure 99% of the investors don't do this homework. And this leads to burning of hands. So investing in stock is investing in a business. When you, let us take one example. If we start a small shop, suppose I am starting a mobile shop in Guwahati, I will do a lot of due diligence, whether that area is suitable for me, whether the rent is suitable for me, whether I'll get customers, what type of mobile phones or what quality of mobile phones I'll keep, how much investment I'll make, how much return I'll earn. We do a lot of due diligence but for investing a small amount. But when we invest in stocks, it's always zero. We take market reports and we invest it without any proper backup, and that results in burning your hands. Okay, so
Okay,
please
thank you.
make an informed decision.
So if I have to summarize that whole discussion, please have some knowledge about shares, stocks. You need to understand the companies, and if you are starting as someone who don't have a financial background, take help from an expert. Coming to Salish, uh, this what would you recommend for one who is looking for investment in real estate, a commercial property or a residential property?
Now, again, even that is a very subjective question, subjective for the investor. That depends on a lot of other factors. Do you already own a home? What kind of business you have? What kind of risk appetite you have? Do you want to take more risk, or you want more return, or you are okay with having less risk and of course lesser return? So if I have to take three examples, say there's an office space in GS Road, there's a showroom space in GS Road, and there's a flat in Rehabari. So you have to invest in any one of these. Say you have your child's marriage is coming up and you are in a rented place. Then you'd first think, okay, I should have a home because that will be more socially acceptable to get my children married off. Okay, but if you already have a home and if you want to get more income, then of course you would think of office space. Office space would get a return of say 6 to 7%, but a showroom space would get a annual return of 9 to 10%, even 11%. But in this pandemic time, you see the showrooms were the first ones where the rentals were slashed, either completely or at least by 50%. And even offices, they were some left the office space, some asked for a reduction of 20-25%. But a residential space will always be occupied. Second, you have to see the availability. Our office space will be available only on GS Road and some other roads, but if you want to invest, I would say invest only in GS Road because where the corporates are coming. But a residential property, you can invest anywhere in Guwahati, anywhere, in fact, outside Guwahati also. It will be stable, it will stay. So again, comparing 2-3 options for residential, commercial or retail, you have to think of your risk appetite, your investment capacity, because commercial properties are usually more expensive than residential properties. But again, commercial properties give you better return. Thank you.
So in the end, you need to know your pocket strength, how much you can spend on a property. Now, coming to Vaishali, this is a personal question. My father, at the age of 55, took a traditional insurance policy of 30 years. And when he came home with the policy document, and I was like, why did you take a policy of 30 years at the age of 55? He said, I don't know. The salesman came in and put so much influence, so much focus on that policy that I was convinced to take up the policy. My question is, how can one decide about what type of insurance is better suitable to the individual?
Insurance is very important for someone to help, especially life and health insurance. But to decide which insurance to take, one should know what are the fulfillment he has to do. So term insurance is very important for one to do, because if he is the breadwinner of the family, if something happens to himself or herself, then who is going to take care of the family? So term insurance is very important to do. You should do that at any age, till your age of maybe 85 or 75, the life expectancy as we take now. How do you decide what type of term insurance to do? I would suggest to take a simple plain term insurance. If something happens to the person, you get the money. No strings attached to it. Secondly, on what amount do you decide? It is based on the expenses you do now and the value of the expenses which will be there later. So that the monthly expense of the family is not hampered even if you're not there. Secondly, I would suggest go for a health insurance. Health insurance of the amount which you are suitable with. Start with 5 lakhs, because the health costs are increasing. You may not know how much is required, but start with 5 lakhs. Third is, I would suggest not to go for insurance product which would tell you that you invest for 10 years and then you will get X amount after 20 years, because that is something which is mixed with insurance and investments. So you have to understand insurance and investments are two separate things. In a battlefield, you required a sword and you required a shield. So your sword is the investment and your shield is the insurance. So do not mix the sword with the shield. So do not mix investment with insurance. So any product which tells you that insurance and investments are mixed together, please do not take it. Read all the paperwork and all the policy brochures before taking the policy. If someone comes pressurizing you, you are not there to do social service at your hard-earned money. Don't pay the premium unnecessarily. First, understand what the product is, why it is important for you, why is he pitching the product to you. Ask your advisor and then take the product. It's not a shameful thing not to ask your advisor 100 times a day that whether I should take this insurance or not. You should effectively invest in the future goals and the insurance, but plan accordingly.
Thank you for that very wonderful insight about insurance. Coming to CA Ayush, I'm from a family where any marriage happens, any party, any gifting, my mother goes out and buys gold. I have argued many a times why you need to buy gold. Instead, you can give them cash or something other valuable stuff. And she goes on, in the value inflation times, the cost of the gold will increase. As a CA, would you recommend investing in gold, or we should go for some other options? Toastmaster Rita is all about smiles. She knows this is hard for her. Okay. Over to
Yes,
Siyash.
yes, Ankit ji. See, gold traditionally has been embedded into our culture, deep embedded into our culture, in a manner that every marriage has a significant percentage, every marriage budget has a significant percentage of gold into it. So our ancestors have always recognized gold as a pertinent measure of investment. But what was there and what is there? We are discussing that now. Earlier, what used to be that gold is a dead investment. It is an investment for the worst times for us, and liquidating gold is a matter of reputation in our society. This used to be the perception about gold. But now, in these modern times, we are having a whole lot of products wherein we can invest in gold with an option to earn without fearing about reputation loss. So what happens? We have a lot of products. The major ones being gold bonds, sovereign gold bonds issued by the RBI. We have exchange traded funds, and there are some other mutual funds also who are dealing in gold products. So these are the products in which you can invest in gold nowadays instead of investing in physical gold. Physical gold, see, it has its own limitations. There is issue of safety, and then when you want to sell it, it becomes difficult because every jeweler at every time might not purchase that quantity of gold which you might hold. So the government has given you one of the best opportunities, that is sovereign gold bond. What is sovereign gold bond? You can purchase sovereign gold bonds from the government of India in denominations of 1 gram. That means you can purchase as low as 1 gram. You will purchase at the market rate of today, and you will be given an interest of 2.5% per annum on the investment you have made, and that will be annually credited to your account. I think semi-annually. That will be semi-annually credited to your account. And at the end of 5 years, you have the option to get your gold bond matured at the market rate at the end of the 5th year. And the total term is 8 years. You can also carry it forward till the 8th year. And the beauty of this gold bond is that unlike physical gold, you need not pay any capital gains on this. So whatever income you are having, that is exempt from income tax. The best option for us nowadays, instead of going into these exchange traded funds, or some are also dealing into commodities, I think please invest, start cultivating or start kindling your desire to invest in gold through investment in gold bonds. I think that is the safest mode of investment and the most remunerative one. Ankit ji, over to you.
If you are still looking to show off your gold ornaments, I'm not sure how sovereign gold bonds would function in that way. Coming to Salish, and I don't want any diplomatic answer over this one. Any particular area in Guwahati or nearby you consider could fetch gold if one is investing in real estate in the near future? Salish.
I'm sorry, but if you don't want a diplomatic answer, you'll have to do a 30-minute need analysis session with me first. Because this need analysis session is something which Vaishali also has spoken, talking to the financial planner and understanding the needs. Okay. It's not कि पेट दर्द हुआ आपको paracetamol दे दो. Okay, there are a lot of tests which are undertaken even by doctors. There can be a lot of problems also. But land, as a thumb rule, gives the best return over long term. Okay. For example, in Brahmaputra Park, in 2004 or 5, the rates were around 6 lakhs per bigha, or even less than that. But around 6 lakhs per bigha in Brahmaputra Industrial Park when they launched. Now it is 2.5 CR per bigha. So you do the math. What is the rate of appreciation? Okay. So anywhere in Guwahati, if I have to say, you can invest for the long term. You invest in areas where the future growth is, and how to find that future growth. Look at the master plan. The master plan says, in fact, when it launched, it said what will come for the next 10 years. Okay. So if people had just looked at the Guwahati master plan, GMDA master plan, and invested in those lands, and people did actually, and they are getting handsome returns from there. So, where in Guwahati to invest? If you're looking for land, invest on the outskirts for long term. If you're looking for office space, invest in GS Road. If you're looking for a house or a flat or anything, as per your budget, you can invest anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Salish. Crux says he's not going to provide you anything for free. You need to take appointment and pay him his consultancy.
No, the consultation is still free. We do not charge like doctors and lawyers. We only charge when we do a successful deal.
Thank you. Thank you to audience. Anyone? I think Rita has a question. It's for Salish, I believe. Rita, would you like to take it?
Salish, I wanted to know, what about the tribal belt? We are hearing that it is going to be abolished sometime soon. So what is your take on it?
See, tribal belts are there for a reason. They were there to so that the tribals were not exploited. The indigenous people who were there. But I would say even Khanapara on GS Road was once a tribal belt. It got converted. But when it will be converted and how it will be converted, it's still it's a risk. So I would not suggest you to invest anywhere in a tribal belt area. There are a lot of, I'm assuming you want to invest for some particular reason. If you just want to invest for the sake of investment to earn returns, then you have other avenues which are less risky. If you want to buy the tribal belt land because it is suitable for an industry or some other things, then there are some workarounds that you can do. But government work in their own mysterious ways, so let's not put all our things in.
I hope that answers you, Toastmaster Rita. If anyone has any question, kindly private message me. I've received a question request from Siddharth. So, Toastmaster Siddharth, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ankit. So my question can be taken up by any of the panelists. It's more like considering the efficient market hypothesis. Is it wise to invest in anything other than an index fund? Should I be investing in any kind of equity fund at all, or should I go straight away for an index fund?
Can I take this?
Sure, please go.
So index fund is something which is a little conservative. So again, you have to jot down what is your investment purpose. If you're investing for more than 5 years, then we won't suggest you an index fund. You can go for an equity fund. So have all kinds of category in your portfolio, be it a mid cap, small cap, or index or multi cap fund. But totally, entirely don't rely on index fund.
So a follow-up question. I mean, does over long term do equity funds beat index funds? I have not studied it, and I don't know if that happens. So.
It depends on the scheme and the fund category you're investing in. But overall, yeah, it does, but not all the time. But you should keep in mind that if you're investing for 5 to 7 years, you cannot entirely have an equity portfolio also. So index fund or any other category would work as in backup for you. So in case the market is not going well, and if you're not getting that good returns at that time, index fund would work for you then. So basically have all kinds of, have an asset allocation for investment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth and Vaishali. I think Toastmaster Gaurav had a question. Gaurav, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ankit. Well, we are discussing about investments, and I couldn't help just asking this. Where do you stand on Bitcoins? I have personally invested in a couple of these cryptocurrencies, and I would love to know what's your stand on the asset class.
Thank you for that question.
Yes, Gauravji, I'll take it up. Investing in Bitcoins is more than playing with fire. It's actually going into the fire. So if you go venture into the fire, whatever protection you have, you will definitely burn your hand. You cannot save it in that manner. Okay, there is no foolproof manner, because see, what is the underlying asset in a Bitcoin? What is the underlying asset in a stock? The business is the underlying asset. The asset minus liability, the book value, is the underlying asset in a stock. Even if the business fails, the business will liquidate itself and pay you the money. But what is the underlying asset in Bitcoin? The trust of millions of investors. Only that one. And the trust will be broken by one person. Just 2-3 days back, one Bitcoin has failed. And the billionaire said that I have also burned my hands in this Bitcoin. So if that billionaire couldn't save himself from burning his hands, who are we? So I think Bitcoin is a very dangerous investment idea. And unless and until you are 100% sure that you will earn, please don't invest in that one. I'll just always say no to a Bitcoin.
It's
Just
like
a small-
it's like it's important to know what you don't know. So Bitcoin is in the same category.
Just one small follow-up on this. Is it legal right now in India to invest in Bitcoin?
As far as I remember, in Bitcoin, it was not legal till some days back. Till now also it is not legal, but government is planning some backup actions for Bitcoin. It will be made legal in some case.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gaurav. That was one of the burning questions. I think everyone is getting curious. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. We can earn lakhs in, get double, triple in few days. There are not many questions, but I think the time does not permits me to take any more questions. If I need to summarize everything that has been said, it's probably in 2 or 3 lines. Firstly, you need to know how much risk you can take to invest. You need to know where to invest and how much to invest. And thirdly, if you are not from someone who is a financial background, please take help from a financial advisor or an expert in that matter. I would like to thank all our panelists for joining and giving insights into this. CA Ayush, Vaishali, Toastmaster
Thank you.
Salish, thank you so much. Thank you, audience, for showing your interest and having. I think I have many questions. There are many questions coming in my chat, but I think you can ask them personally. If you want, I can forward their email ID to you. Okay, so thank you, panelists. Over to you, TMO.
Thank you, Ankit, for this wonderful session. It was quite informative, and we all gained new insights into this particular